From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now!
Based on generations-old legal principles and Supreme Court decisions handed down during World War II, as well as during this current conflict, it's clear that United States citizenship alone does not make such individuals immune from being targeted.
In a secret Justice Department paper, the Obama administration claims it has legal authority to assassinate U.S. citizens overseas, even if there's no intelligence indicating they're engaged in an active plot to attack the United States. We'll speak with the ACLU's Jamil Jaffer. Meanwhile, here at home, the Obama administration is claiming the legal authority to indefinitely detain Americans without charge or trial.
The sign, and not unique, of the way in which our fundamental rights, our Bill of Rights, our constitutional freedoms have been abridged by the last 10 years and more, and President Obama is unhappily following in that tradition.
We'll speak with Pentagon Papers whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg. He's in New York this week to attend an appeal in his lawsuit against the NDAA. And we'll speak with computer security researcher Jacob Appelbaum, who's lost a federal appeals court ruling that the government could subpoena his Twitter and email info without a warrant as part of its probe into WikiLeaks. And the Boy Scouts of America prepared to vote on whether to lift its ban on gay members.
The question always comes down to, well, can gays even raise kids? And the conversation gets quiet for a moment because most people don't really have an answer. And then I raise my hand and say, actually, I was raised by a gay couple, and I'm doing pretty well. I scored in the 99th percentile on the ACT. I'm actually an Eagle Scout. I own and operate my own small business. If I was your son, Mr. Chairman, I believe I would make you very proud.
We'll speak with Eagle Scout Zach Walls, founder of Scouts for Equality. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The Obama administration's legal rationale for assassinating U.S. citizens without charge has been revealed for the first time. A secret Justice Department document obtained by NBC News says the administration can target citizens who are, quote, senior operational leaders of al-Qaeda or an associated force, even if there's no intelligence indicating they're engaged in an active plot to attack the United States. The documents described as a white memo provided to members of the Senate Intelligence and Judiciary Committees last year. Its release follows a series of failed efforts by civil liberties groups to obtain the government's legal justification for the targeted killing of an American. We'll have more on the drone memo after headlines. A new report's revealed a detailed look at global involvement in the CIA's secret program of prisons, rendition, and torture in the years after 9/11. The Open Society Justice Initiative says 54 countries aided the CIA until President Obama halted the program in 2009. The report, called Globalizing Torture, also reveals at least 136 people were held by the CIA during those years, the largest tally to date. The country's assistance ranged from allowing CIA planes to refuel to hosting the prisons where the detainees were tortured. The report's author, Amrit Singh, said, quote, the moral cost of these programs was borne not just by the U.S., but by the 54 other countries it recruited to help. The report comes as an Italian appeals court has reversed a lower court decision acquitting 3 CIA agents involved in the 2003 kidnapping of a Muslim cleric. Abu Omar was seized from the streets of Milan in 2003. He was taken to U.S. bases in Italy and Germany before being sent to Egypt, where he suffered torture during a 4-year imprisonment. The reversal of the agents' acquittals means all 26 Americans tried in the case have been found guilty in Italy. None have been extradited, but are subject to arrest if they travel in Europe. The Justice Department is filing civil charges against the credit rating agency Standard & Poor's for improperly rating mortgage securities leading up to the nation's financial crisis. The charges would mark the government's first enforcement action against a major credit ratings agency following the nation's near economic collapse. But S&P only faces civil penalties of fines and new restrictions, not jail time for top executives. Prosecutors reportedly decided to file the civil case after S&P balked at paying a settlement of at least $1 billion. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has announced plans to review the use of solitary confinement in prisons nationwide. The U.S. is among the world leaders in holding prisoners alone in small cells, in some cases up to 23 hours a day. In a statement, the American Civil Liberties Union welcomed the review, saying, quote, "We hope and expect it will lead the Bureau of Prisons to significantly curtail its use of this draconian, inhumane, and expensive practice." President Obama took his public campaign for gun control on the road Monday with a speech in Minnesota. With his State of the Union address a week away, Obama emphasized his plan to ban assault weapons and increase background checks on gun buyers.
We don't have to agree on everything to agree it's time to do something. There won't be perfect solutions. We're not going to save every life, but we can make a difference. And that's our responsibility as Americans. And that's what I'll do every single day, as long as I've got the honor of serving as your president.
A number of Republican senators have announced they won't try to filibuster the confirmation of former Senator Chuck Hagel as Secretary of Defense. The pledge by Arizona Senator John McCain and others likely means Hagel has enough votes should another Republican decide to filibuster his bid. Activists in Syria are claiming over 270 people have been killed in nationwide violence since Sunday. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says at least 90 people died across Syria Monday after some 180 people lost their lives the day before. The toll includes dozens killed when a building was bombed in the northern city of Aleppo. At the United Nations, the head of refugee operations for the Middle East and North Africa warned Syria's violence is causing systemic destruction.
It is an appalling situation in Syria today, appalling. And all these figures probably are not capturing the true story of how Syria, the people, but also Syria, the country, are facing systematic destruction.
Foreign diplomats recently have claimed a small breakthrough in the impasse between Syrian rebels and President Bashar al-Assad after opposition leader Muaz al-Khatib said he's open to sitting down with Assad's aides. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has arrived in Cairo for a three-day visit to attend a summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. It's the first trip to Egypt by an Iranian leader since Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution. Israel's carried out a new series of raids in the occupied West Bank, arresting 23 members of the group Hamas. 3 of those detained were lawmakers in the Palestinian parliament. The arrests come as Israeli forces have dismantled yet another Palestinian encampment challenging the occupation of the West Bank. In what appears to be a growing strategy, Palestinian activists established a new outpost called Al-Manatir to protect their land from expanding settlement growth. Israeli forces and settlers moved in, firing live ammunition, arresting 10 people. It was the 3rd Palestinian encampment to be established and removed in the occupied West Bank over the past month. The protest encampment follows the conclusions of a UN Human Rights Council inquiry reaffirming the settlement's illegality and calling for their complete dismantlement. Panel Chair Christine Chanette said Israel's leadership has knowingly violated international law by continuing the settlement's growth.
Israel must, that's our first recommendation, must cease settlements activities and provide adequate, prompt and effective remedies to the victims of violation of human rights. You will see in our report, I think it's the first time that you will find an historical background, very exhaustive, of all the settlements enterprise. So the governments of Israel have openly, sometimes not so openly in an international stage, support the settlements, but they have the full control of the planification of the settlements.
A group of civil rights lawyers has filed a lawsuit seeking to end the New York Police Department's program of spying on Muslim Americans. The suit alleges the NYPD's surveillance of Muslims in the tri-state area violates the landmark Handshoe guidelines, which limit how police carry out political investigations. The attorneys are calling for an end to all spying on Muslims unless there's evidence of wrongdoing and for a court auditor to oversee compliance. House lawmakers in Arkansas have voted to ban abortion after 20 weeks of pregnancy with no exception for women who are victims of rape or incest. The measure now heads to the state Senate, which last week passed an even harsher measure banning abortions after detection of a fetal heartbeat. 7 other states currently ban abortion at 20 weeks. In New York, hundreds of people packed a budget hearing in the state capital, Albany, Monday, urging Governor Andrew Cuomo to reject the gas drilling process known as fracking. Cuomo is expected to soon decide whether to lift a moratorium on fracking, a process that blasts fluid deep underground to extract gas. The demonstrators voiced concerns fracking would pollute water supplies, harm the environment, and threaten public health. Among them was the actor and activist Mark Ruffalo, who addressed Governor Cuomo directly.
The money, $2 trillion, that is in renewable energy should come to this state. We should be leading the world. We should be fossil free by 2030. We can do that. With our help, we'll help you get there. We'll help you be president, but we'll cream you if you open New York State to hydrofracking.
As New Yorkers protest fracking, direct actions are continuing against the Keystone XL pipeline that would bring tar sands oil from Canada to the Gulf Coast. On Monday, an Oklahoma woman temporarily halted construction on the pipeline by chaining her neck to an excavator. Elizabeth Leja was arrested following her act of protest. President Obama has delayed a decision on the Keystone pipeline until the spring. He initially postponed it until after the presidential election. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Nermeen Sheikh. Welcome to our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world.
Thanks so much for watching this report from Democracy Now!, your daily independent global news hour. We don't accept advertising or corporate funding, but rather rely on donations from viewers like you. Please make your contribution by visiting democracynow.org. We need your support today to keep bringing you this hard-hitting, in-depth reporting.